Hello, Mary here. I'm back. Not really live, but anyway, this is our stretch time. This is a video for you to follow along with. So, go ahead and get your tools together. Uh, Mine rolled away from me. Here you go. So, get your foam roller, get your tennis ball, get a strap, and let's see here. What else do we need? If you have one of these large balls, you can go ahead and grab one of those. We're going to try some stretching over the ball. Also, if you don't have a ball, get a blanket, fold it over. So pause the video if you need to, go grab a blanket that you can kind of fold up in thirds or in quarters anyway to make it pretty big. We're going to lay back on that. So we're going to start again with the first 10 minutes of foam rolling. So I usually start with the feet, but today I'm going to start with the upper backs and then I'll work down that way. So make sure that when you're doing your foam rolling that you stay off the bones and you stay off the joints. You want to stay on the muscle itself. Some parts of the body is easier to feel the muscle than others. The upper back is one of those areas you're not too sure of. So as long as it feels okay, it's good. Maybe you want to be kind of halfway on. So from the outside of your vertebrae over to the side of the shoulder, that might feel like a better place to kind of roll a little halfway on and off. And you can go sideways with that, or you can kind of go a little bit forward and back. Again, just the upper back right behind that shoulder blade area. There is a muscle on top of that, so you're not right on that shoulder blade bone itself. So you're fine with that. Just kind of roll around in that area. You could take your arm over the foam roller and kind of get into the side there as well. Maybe that feels better with the arm over the side or around this way. So you could do that as well. You could also kind of lean onto it a little bit and roll a little bit out and in, kind of get onto the outside of the shoulder or underneath into your tricep area. You could bring your forearms on top and roll forward and back. Maybe the top of the hands up. Maybe that feels better. Even work the side of it a little bit. Sometimes it's easier to use a tennis ball to get into that shoulder, into the front area, maybe right on the side or even a little bit to the back, or down the arm, maybe into the bicep. It's a little easier to use the ball. Always feel free to use your hands. So you can use your thumb to press into it. You can use your fingers to massage into it. That's really what you're trying to do is massage. Just kind of mush that skin around, just see if you feel a place that feels tight. Once you pinpoint where it's at, you can use your fingers to dig into it, or again, use that tennis ball to get into it. And then you have your chest area. So for about right here, right below that notch, and then over to the side, you'll know when you find a place that's tight and kind of work through it that way as well. So that on both sides. You can also get into the neck area with the ball. So kind of feel where your collarbone is right here. That's my collarbone. I'm going to work back. Right on top, I can feel the fleshy part. I'm going to work through that muscle and through there too. So there you go. Kind of work the upper back area. So when you work down through the sides, make sure you're not on the lumbar area, those lower vertebrae. You want to get down below to where if this were your hip bone, it looks kind of like this and it's bone all the way around. Get it to the top part of that bone and then roll down a little bit. So for most people, about 2 or 3 inches right through that area. And once you get situated on there, just kind of support yourself there the best that whatever feels good for you up there, and work through that area as well. Just kind of stay there. You maybe can rock a little bit side to side. That might work. Getting into the hips, the butt muscle, that gluteus maximus, minimus, all those fun little muscles in there. And medius, don't forget the third one. So on the side, you can kind of get into it there. Maybe the foam roller isn't quite right. Maybe you want to use the ball. So it's really easy to find sore spots on the buttocks, unfortunately, because that's where a lot of the work happens. But find a spot that's kind of tender and just let your body sink down onto it. Kind of feel that muscle just melt down around the ball and stay there for about 3 or 4 breaths, and then come off of that and move it around. Try to find another area that's kind of tender. Again, just because one part feels tender doesn't mean that's the source of the tenderness. It could be here's the tender spot, but over here is the cause of it. So you need to move the ball around. Even in the parts that don't feel really sore, that might be what's causing the other place to be really sore. And then you can take your leg any direction. Sometimes because you're close to the joint, remember stay off the joint, but you can probably feel the leg rotate a little bit. You'll feel the change of the muscle as your leg rotates. Maybe that kind of gets into what feels pretty good. Maybe bend your knee. You can just keep it bent, and maybe that does enough. Maybe the knee a little bit more up or a little to the side. Really just depends where that ball is at. So stay off of that tailbone. We don't want to get on the tailbone. All right, so then the front here. So we'll start here with the hip flexor area. We always have that fifth pocket muscle up here. So your jeans, where you have 5 pockets on those jeans, or the hidden pocket area, kind of that spot right there is where you can just sit and work into it that way, or you can lay on top of it. You want to roll onto it, so you don't want to be right on it. So kind of place it there and kind of slowly move onto it and just see if that's in the right place, and then kind of adjust around to see where that might need to really kind of get into and dig into that area. Then you can work down the quads. You can continue using the ball. Just find a spot that feels kind of tender and work into it. You could do inner thigh. You can probably roll through that ball. Maybe you have enough leverage or whatever you want to call it that you can get into that. Or if not, use your foam roller. So if you want to use it for the inner thigh, place the leg on top, rolling out and then rolling in. Top of the thighs, your quads. You can do both at the legs same time or one at a time. And then you can work through the outside of the leg, your IT band. Make sure you have one foot supporting you as you kind of roll into it on the side here. And it's a pretty painful process. So you can always take that tennis ball instead. I'm going to use the blanket for part of this. So I'm going to turn my leg this direction, support my knee with the blanket, and take the ball and work it down the side of the leg. And sometimes that feels pretty good. You might be able to work it into the hamstring. You might be able to get it into the top of the thigh. Maybe that feels good too. And even the inner thigh, so you can work that around if the foam roller is not quite right for you to do that. Again, try not to have too much weight on that IT band if you're on top of that foam roller, because you can cause damage to it. And we don't want to do that. We want to help it. So next place would be into the calves. Again, you can use the tennis ball, just kind of find those places that are a little bit tender and roll around. Or you can use that foam roller. Work one or both at the same time. You can do one leg, single leg pressure, cross at the ankles, double leg pressure. Maybe that's going to work better for you there. And then tennis ball under the foot. Feels really good, especially midday, end of the day. If you stand a lot, the foot just gets abused, you could say. So wrap the toes around it, roll along the arches, the inner arch, outer arch, from the big toe to the little toe, right where the ball joints are, the heel, maybe the back side of the heel, not on the Achilles, but on the heel bone itself. Can you see that? Your Achilles will be up higher. Stay pressure off of the Achilles. You don't want to damage your Achilles. All right, so if you have any other issues with the calves, use your thumbs to get into right at the crease of your knee, right at the top of the calf muscle. Dig in there. You're going to feel there's some muscle in there that might be tender. And if you do some pressure in there and you find tenderness, you really need to work that part of your leg, because that's part of why your calves are going to be sore or tight. So try that out on both sides. One side might be tender, the other one not, or maybe both are, maybe both aren't. So that's what you want to work through on there. So we're going to take about 2 more minutes. Go ahead and keep working through whichever part of the body needs all that rolling. And when you get finished, when we start a regular stretching, if you need to do more rolling with the ball or tennis ball, that's fine. Just go ahead and take a break. The foam roller, apply that to the part of the body that you need to have worked out a little bit more. And for most of us, it's going to be probably around the top of the thigh, the back of the thigh, and the buttocks. That's most tender. But of course, we're going to have tenderness whatever part of the body you're working. So we want to make sure we get everything really worked out. Get the fascia to release, which is the covering over the muscles. If it's tight, the muscles are going to stay tight, and then we can't get a full stretch like we want to help the body release a little bit. Help you get stronger in your workouts when you're more flexible, because you're creating more fiber when you're stretching the muscle. If you just let the muscle build up and bulk and just stay tight, so you kind of walk like this, that's not a good thing. The body will retaliate in one way or the other, and we want to keep the body happy as long as we can. So we'll take 3 or 4 more deep breaths with whatever you're stretching there, rolling out mostly, and then we'll continue on with more of our stretches here. Help you open up through the body. So as you're finishing up, continue with what you're doing. We're going to go into some deep breaths, so you can lay on your back, you can sit up, just get however you're comfortable. Kind of relax down the shoulders a little bit, sit nice and tall, close your eyes if you like. Take an inhale through your nose, exhale through open mouth like a sigh, just to let things go. And one more time, inhale through your nose, exhale, open mouth, sigh. And that just kind of helps to let the body relax a little bit more. So as you roll, as you stretch, you've actually built up tension in the body, so that exhale through the mouth helps it let go. So anytime, go ahead and start with that little bit of release. All right, we're going to start with the calves. We're going to take the strap or a towel, if you've got a long towel, that will work for this too, around the ball of the foot, and you're going to hold both straps and pull it back to you. This other leg can go where it's comfortable for you, so you can have the knee out, you can have the leg straight, and pull it in. So we're going to try a few of these stretches first before we continue with other stretches for that. And then you can switch to the other side. Just kind of feel where that tightness might be. And we're going to switch it back to the other foot. This is going to be a little tricky. You can do it this way, and you can pull on one strap or the other. Hopefully you can tell that my foot's rotating out and in. But sometimes it's easier to get that rotation if you take the strap to the top of the foot, wrap one side around, take the other side around. So now you've kind of created an X on that foot. And it's a little easier when you do the rotation for the whole foot to rotate. Let me turn sideways here. So maybe you can tell how the foot's rotating one way or the other. So that will tell you if you have tightness in the outside or the inside of your calf muscle there. And then we'll switch it to the other side. Same thing, start on top, cross on the bottom. There we go. All right, so again, rotation one way or the other. The other leg goes where it's going to go. It's okay. Let it just be where it's happy. And relax that out. All right, take the strap out and away. Well, actually keep it close by if you need it. We're going to take one leg straight, the other knee out to the side. See if you can get comfortable here enough that you can kind of reach forward. You can actually have that knee up and just reach to the inside. You can bring that strap or towel around your foot. Bring it in and lean forward. Don't think too much about, I'm really going to get far forward to feel the stretch, because if you keep your spine really, really tall and start leading with your belly forward instead of the chest forward, you're going to keep your spine neutral and you're going to feel a lot more stretch. So if I turn sideways here, keep your spine tall and come forward. Really keep the chest and your chin up. So if you're rounding, you're not getting the stretch because the hip girdle here is not shifting forward. If you're tight in your back and your hamstrings, it's probably not going to feel like you're getting anywhere with that at all. So I want you to try that a couple times first, see if you can get that to release a little bit. And then we'll switch to the other side. So again, this other knee can be at the side. It can be lifted up if that's better. It can be straight. Maybe that feels better. Again, you want to keep that spine neutral, flat. Bring it forward so that you feel some stretch in the back of the leg, your hamstring area. You probably feel this closer up into the buttocks area. That doesn't matter where you feel it as long as it's a good feel and you feel it into the back side of the legs a little bit. Take another breath, exhale, and let it go. Now take your foam roller, bring it in. Let's put our foot on top of that. Keep a slight bend in the knee. I don't want you to hyperextend that leg. You could, if you've got that blanket, you could fold it enough that you can put your leg there to kind of support it there. So you have your leg elevated now. Take the strap around it, and let's see if we can get into this a little bit deeper now. So when you get into the stretch, you can lean a little bit one way, you can lean the other way if that feels good. Maybe rotate the leg from your hip one way, maybe leaning into it. Rotate it out the other way, lean into it. So let me turn a little bit more to the front here. Again, it's important to have the back of the knee supported when you're doing this. And then again, this other leg where it's comfortable, maybe it feels better to have that knee up. Maybe with the knee up, you can lean over a little bit. Maybe that gets you into a better stretch. So try that. Come all the way over with that leg straight, pulling on the strap to bring your body forward. See how that stretch feels in there. Now we're going to do a stretch release technique. So I want you to release your stretch a little bit. Take a breath in. Exhale, come into that stretch. And I want you to reach your heel out and away from your body. And then relax, come back out of it. And then exhale, try to get into it a little bit deeper. Inhale and release. And I may have reversed the breathing. So breathing doesn't matter too much as long as you can feel a nice deep breath in and out. Sometimes when you get into the stretch, you want to exhale to kind of release that stretch, kind of melt into the stretch. Inhale, release out of it. And we'll do 2 more. And release. And this next one, we're going to come into it and we're going to hold. So you're going to hold it here and breathe. You're going to keep pressing the heel away from the hip. If you're on your side, that's fine. If you're more upright, that's fine. Just keep holding that stretch. Maybe you prefer to have your hands around your foot. You can do that too. Just feel that stretch. Where do you feel it best? Stay there, keep breathing. Maybe you need to rotate your leg one way or the other a little bit more. Just little movements when you're stretching. Maybe come out of your stretch a little bit and move the leg and then go back into that stretch. We'll still be here for another 4 deep breaths. Deep breath is about 6 seconds long. Inhale, exhale, about 6 seconds. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. About like that. And the slow release. Come on up. Kind of rotate that leg, shake it out a little bit, and we'll switch other side. All right, same thing. Let's see how this side feels. It's probably going to feel a little different. As in more tight, more flexible, one or the two, somewhere in between. So again, position your other knee where you feel comfortable. Lean over to the side if that's going to work better for you to feel the better stretch. Or rotate from the hip, the whole leg one way, lean forward, the other way, lean forward. Again, find that deep breath. Deep inhale, exhale, sink into the stretch. And 4 more just like that. Inhale, release a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. Exhale, get a little bit deeper into it. And if it's making you work, that's okay. It's not a bad thing to feel like you're working when you're stretching. Because it can be work to get into these stretches because the body can be so tight. That's why we foam roll, to help everything loosen up, and then we stretch the body. So if you're feeling pretty tight there still, do 1 more. Inhale, exhale, get into it. Let's stay here for a moment, about 4 breaths. Then I'll give you an option to roll that a little bit more if you think you need to, but not yet. Hold it there. Just hold that static stretch. Static meaning we're not moving. Just holding there, maybe increasing a teeny tiny bit if we can. Feel that heel press away from the hip. 1 more breath. Exhale out. All right, slowly come back up and out of that. Now, if you think you're still pretty tight in those hamstrings, grab that foam roller underneath. Roll a little bit forward and back, one leg or both at the same time. I'll give you 2 minutes on that. If you're feeling pretty good and you don't feel like you need that foam roller, that's fine. Take your feet so that your legs are straight out to start with. start walking your hands down. See how that feels. If it feels pretty tight, and for most of it, it's going to be tight. Bend your knees, hands out. Walk your hands down to the toes. Get your fingers over the toes and just hang out here. Feel that stretch starting in the back of the legs, and then take one leg a little more straight. And if you're still foam rolling, that's fine. Go ahead. If you think you're done foam rolling, then you can join in with our stretch whenever you wish. You can pause the video if you want to. And relax. And extend the other one out. Come back in. You can continue that one at a time or take both legs forward a little bit. Maybe start bringing your forehead towards your knees and just see how that feels. If it's feeling like, my bony knees, put your pillow, if you have one, or your blanket, just rest your head down and slowly let yourself melt down. One thing that helps a lot with this is if you do have what they call a bolster in yoga, and it's a very firm cushion. It's like a pillow, but it's pretty firm. You can simulate that with blankets. You can get a couple blankets, fold them up to the height that would work for you, and just round yourself forward. You can even take your hands and stack the fists there to make a little connection there. If you have yoga blocks or you have another blanket you can stack up there, just kind of relax in this forward position. This is actually a restorative pose, meaning that the body is able to relax and rejuvenate and come into a more peaceful state. So even while it might feel like there's a lot of work going on into the hamstrings, you just get yourself as comfortable as you can and just round forward and relax. And we'll stay here for another 30 seconds or so. So about another 4 or 5 breaths. And if you're foam rolling, that's fine. If you want to join us in the stretch now, you can too. Try to breathe into your sides because you're forward. The breath is not going to go into your belly very well. So breathe through your side ribs, breathe into your low back. Take one more deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. And then press your hands down into your blanket or into the floor to help bring yourself up. Just move those blankets out of the way. And then just kind of shake things out if you need to. All right, so now if you have your ball, go ahead and grab that. If you don't have the ball, then you can use your foam roller or you can use blankets. So we're going to try to get the chest opened up. And I was also hoping that if you have that ball, that would be ideal. We're going to try and stretch the front of the hips as well, but we'll do that separately just in case you don't have one. So for the chest, this is similar to the fish pose that we do in yoga, and it takes a little maneuvering to do, but if you have a long foam roller like this, you might be able to put your whole spine on it. Your head might hang off the edge, and if that's the case, put a blanket at the end to support your head. And I'll put a blanket here so I can show you this one. So again, when you find your way down on there, you can see if you can get your head onto your foam roller. Mine won't fit there, so I'm going to use a blanket underneath to help support my head there. So the head can tip back as far as what's comfortable. I just don't want your head hanging in the air, so it needs to have some kind of support. And then we're going to have the chest open up. You can feel your shoulder blades wrap around your foam roller. Your arms can be at the sides where it's comfortable, so maybe they can be straight out. Maybe you bend your elbows and just kind of let your hands rotate a little bit back. If they don't touch the floor, like mine are not touching the floor, slide over here a little bit so you can actually see what's happening. Put a blanket beside your shoulder so that your hand can rest. There can be some support. Again, we don't want anything just kind of hanging out there. You want some support. You can reach your arms past your head. Maybe that feels better. And then if you want, you can take one or both legs out. And with that, you're going to feel the opening into the front of the hips. So that's if you're able to get your foam roller set up. When you come off, make sure you roll off to one side first and then sit up. You can also stack those blankets in a way just like this that you could also lay on those blankets. And it's just enough to elevate you so that you can feel the chest is open and you feel a stretch through your pec muscles. and that works well too. So if you've got the ball, slide this out of the way. I'm going to get my mat over here so that I have something to support myself with here. All right, so the ball is going to be behind us. You could do this different ways to get on the ball, but I'm going to push into my feet to roll myself up. So from here, after I get my hair out of the way, arms out to the side. So you don't have to be pushed all the way back. You can be wherever it's good for you. Hips can be close to the floor, arms out. Remember, arms, you can bend them. Make sure there's still some kind of support there. They're not hanging there. Arms past your head. Again, we are looking for a stretch around the shoulder, around the pec muscles, across the chest here. And you can come back a little bit more, and this would even stretch through the front of the legs if you take your legs, keep them wide, as much as what feels comfortable to hold your balance there, and then you can feel the front of the hips opening up on this as well. If you go back further on that with your hips higher up, you could get a little bit more stretch through the front of the hips as well. Let me move that out of the way. So you could start sitting on top, come on down. Some people like to feel more like a back bend, so you can come a little bit more down, head to the floor. And then just use your arms to help find your balance. Legs are wide, again, to help hold your balance. And again, it just depends what feels comfortable for your body. So maybe that's not quite right for you. So if that's the case, again, you can use blankets on the floor. You don't have to go back so far on the ball. We want to have the opening of the chest. I actually challenge you every time you go through a doorway to put your arms on the sides of the door frames. Like if this framing here was a doorway, put your hands there and just lean forward and get that stretch. Different positions for the arms, even overhead, hands on the top of the door frame, hang through it, open the chest. All right, let's take another couple breaths here. I think you've probably got a lot of good stretch there, which is really good, which is what we're looking for. And then come up out of that. We're going to stretch a little bit through the outside of the thigh next. So grab your strap. You can move your ball out of the way. All right, let's work into that IT band. That's such a favorite for us to get into to feel that stretch. Go ahead and lay on your back. You're going to take that strap over the foot. Start with your foot flexed, and then we're going to take the leg a little bit to the side. So keep the hips on the floor. Take the leg across. Don't let your hip come up though. And then keep that foot flexed like I said, and then rotate your toe down. And just see if you feel okay. Maybe you can take it over a little bit more, but keep the hip on the floor. This hip stays on the floor. And now let's take this leg straight and then start taking the hip up off the floor. Let this leg come across as far as what feels good. Toe pointing down. So maybe you get to a point where it's like, oh, I need to support that with something. Grab your blanket, put it out there. If you're able to come across that far. If not, maybe you have a chair that you can set up there. Maybe use your hand to help support that leg. Again, if you rotate that toe down, it's going to feel a little bit different stretch into that hip. I'm going to stay here another 2-3 deep breaths. Belly breath. So feel your belly move out and in as you breathe. And then soften that knee, bring it back up. We're going to go that way again, so don't go all the way to the other foot yet. Now, if you think you need to bring your knee to your chest, do that, or maybe a little out to the side in a thigh stretch just for a moment. Yes, go ahead and do that. Kind of let everything settle out a little bit. This time, instead of turning the toe down, we're going to keep our toe up. Come across. Don't let the hip come up yet. See how that feels. If you need to put your foot on the floor, bend your knee to help support you there. And then start bringing that leg across a little bit more. And then if your foot naturally rotates down, that's fine, but don't force it down. Just go where the natural rotation of the foot might be if it does. And let your hip come up as far as what feels good. Now we're going to hold this one here. Keep this hip pressing away from your shoulder rib area, because if this hip comes in, we're losing stretch. We've shortened what we can stretch here. So keep pressing that away. And then if you want to bring this leg up towards the direction of your head, that will add some stretch there as well. So you got the hip pressed away, we've got the leg coming up towards the head. If you want to take this arm out to the other side, palm down or up, whichever feels better, and then turn your head towards the opposite side of the foot. Let's just stay there and take some deep breaths. Use your strap to support your leg, especially if you don't have anything for that leg to sit on and rest. See if you can find the next breath into your belly. See if you can take a longer breath in on the next inhale. Slow exhale. And 3 more just like that. Relaxing your shoulders. All right, let's bring the head back, bring the hand in. Let's soften that knee a little bit and bring it back up to the sky. Go ahead and stretch it out if you need to do a knee to the chest or a leg out to the side. We're going to go into the hamstring. So the strap is underneath the foot. You can hold on to the ends of either side. You can actually feed them through if you've got a buckle to do that with. Or I just like to hold the ends of it. Bring my head up, hands behind the head to support it. Try to get your leg as straight as you can. And then you've got the balance of that leg stretching and the head lifting up. And you can change that by shortening the loop. So if you have it looped, make it short. Maybe you hold up a little higher on the straps. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit to feel a difference. And then you bring your head up, hands behind the head. Shorter loop means it's going to be a stronger stretch for that leg, for that hamstring. So the other leg can be straight, or you can have the knee bent. It's going to be less intense with the knee bent. Maybe you start bent and then slowly straighten it out. See what feels good there. Feel the stretch behind the neck if you have the strap back there. The advantage to having it looped is that it would support your head up and your arms can be on the floor. Let's come back to finding that deeper breath in the nose. Feel it go into the belly, let the belly rise. Exhale, let it go. And 3 more long, deep inhales, exhales. Ready, slowly release back down. All right, so let's release that leg a little bit. We're going to take it to the outside. So you can bring the knee to the chest. You can use that strap to help bring it down, or hand on the foot. You can also take the leg straight and out to the side. So once it's out to the side, try to bring that leg closer to your head again. Get that up there. Other arm can reach out to the side. You can look away from the leg. Try to keep the hips pretty much square on the floor. So if this hip is rolling up, just know that it's rolling up. We're going to do our best to keep it down. So you might want to put your foam roller or a blanket underneath this leg that's stretching to help support it. Because what also happens is that now you can totally relax this leg, the muscles all the way into your buttocks. It does feel like a different stretch. And to me, it feels better instead of having my leg hanging on the strap there, which, yeah, it's not having to work too hard, but there's a little bit of tension in my muscle that I'm not able to let go of. If you can, awesome. You don't need to have something supporting your leg, but otherwise, put something underneath your leg to help support it there. And let's take 2 more deep breaths. In the nose, down to the belly. Exhale, let go. 1 more time, deep breath in. Exhale, let go. All right, soften the knee. Bring that knee back to the chest. Take off the strap. Little rock, side to side. All right, we're going to switch to the other leg. Take your time with that transition. We're going to take that strap around the bottom of the foot. We're going to go to the IT band stretch first. So that's going to be the outside of this thigh. You can start with this other knee bent or straight. So keep the foot flexed. We're going to turn the toes out the direction you're going to go with that leg. Keep the hips on the ground. Don't let the hip come up. So it might not go very far before you start feeling the pull of that hip. That just shows there's tightness in there. There's really no hard, fast, this is how far your leg should be able to go before your hip lifts. It's whatever you feel in your body. Go as far as you can. Hopefully you feel that stretch. If not, leg closer to your head will increase your stretch. Hip stays down. Keep breathing. Now we're going to start taking that leg across. So point your toe towards the floor. Rotate from the hip. Rotate that leg. Keep that hip pressing down. The other knee, you can straighten that leg out as the leg goes across. Let this hip come up. You're going as far as what's comfortable this direction. And just keep it there and just feel that little stretch going on. Reach your arm out to the side. Look the opposite direction of the foot. And notice if your hip feels like it's coming up towards your rib and your shoulder, keep it down, pressed away a little bit. And again, take some deep breaths in and out through the nose. Maybe close your eyes. And just that way you kind of feel what's really happening without actually looking to see what's happening. And we'll take 2 more deep breaths. And then slowly bend that knee, bring it back to the center. And then bring that leg back up. We're going to go that way one more time. You can start with the toe turned out or just keep the foot in the natural position. Try to keep the hips on the floor first. Again, more stretch is the leg coming closer to your head, the hips staying down away from the shoulders. If you feel good, stay here. If this feels like a really good stretch, otherwise you can let your leg go across. Let the hip come up. So now you got a little spinal twist going on as well. I'm going to bring my leg back up. Because for me, this is a better stretch for my IT band through here. And again, if you liked having the toe turned down, go ahead and turn your toe down. If it feels better with the toe more pointed up or in its natural position for you, go for that. Deep breath in and out. Two more deep breaths. And then slowly bring that leg back, softening your knee when it feels like it's the right time to do that. And then just bring that knee in. Take it out to the side if that feels good. Get a little stretch. We're going to go to the hamstring stretch next. So straight up. Then we'll come back to the outer movement for the inner thigh stretch. So hands, again, you can loop that strap together or hands can support your head. See how that stretch feels. Again, with the other leg straight, it's more intense. So maybe you want to start with your knee bent a little bit. And then slowly start straightening out that leg until you feel like the right amount of tension, right amount of stretch going on into that hamstring, back side of the leg. Sometimes we get too deep initially into a stretch, and so you'll get in the stretch and like 15 or 20 seconds later, your muscle starts pulling back. That's just a sign you're too far into it. Come out of it a little bit. Adjust to it. So like if I bend my other knee, it's a little bit less intense. You can also just release out this way, of course. And then come back to where you think the hamstring will be happy to stay for the rest of our time here. But that's your body's natural protection so that you don't pull your muscles every time you get into a deep stretch. It'll go so far initially, then we'll say, okay, that's enough. We need to come out of this. We hope you feel a little more release into that hamstring. 2 more deep breaths. Sometimes it just means you have to hold it a whole lot longer to feel that release going on. So on your next exhale, let's slowly release that hamstring stretch. Go ahead and relax that leg to the floor if that feels better. Kind of let it release. And now we're going to take the knee to the chest. You can hold on to the strap there to bring it to the outside of the chest, or hand on the foot, or you can take the leg straight and out to the side. So remember, if you've got something to place your leg on, that's going to give it some nice release. We're trying not to let that hip roll up. We try to keep that hip down. So if I'm doing that, I've got to take my leg a different direction here. The other leg can be straight. So again, what feels nice is that you can just feel the stretch with your leg totally relaxed. So I'm going to redo my stretch here. All right, so I've got it resting on a blanket here. I'm just holding it so I can keep pulling my foot the direction of my head. I've got my hip pretty well down on the floor as best as I can get it. And what's nice again is that my whole leg is relaxed because it's resting on the blanket. So I can totally let it relax and really get into what we call a passive stretch, where there's no activity in that leg, it's just resting in that position. Other hands reaching away, turn your eye gaze towards that hand. Let your neck stretch. Take some deep breaths in the nose. Pause at the top of the inhale. Exhale through your nose, let it go. Continue the nice, slow, deep breath in and out. See if you can feel your hips releasing just a little bit more. One more deep breath. Exhale, let go. Bring your head back to center. Bring the arm in. We're going to soften that knee and bring that knee back to the chest. Little rock, side to side. And let's bend both the knees. Feet are wide. Knees are together. That usually feels pretty good in the back. Now start taking one knee a little bit to the inside and then the other. I'm going to do another stretch here, but this will get us kind of started on that. Let's take our knees to center. Take your feet a little bit wider. Take one knee towards the inside. So it's going to come like from a line to midline from your nose, chin, down through, right between the legs there. That's where that knee goes. That's your midline. That's where the knee is trying to go. And maybe push through that foot to lift your hip up and forward. And that's going to get stretched a little bit more through the hip flexors and your quadriceps. Maybe that feels good too. Just watch how the knees feel. This leg goes where it's okay. It doesn't have to be laying on the side if that's not working for your body. You can keep the knee up a little bit. You can straighten your leg. Just do whatever feels good for that side. And let's release. Bring it back to center. Kind of move a little bit through the hip side to side. Make sure your knees and feet are nice and wide. Now the other knee comes to that midline. Just kind of start there. Maybe that feels good right there, and that's all you need to do. That's perfect. Otherwise, if you want to try a little bit more, push into that foot to lift your hip up and push your hips away and see if that gives a little different kind of a stretch that you're looking for. If you get there and don't like it, then release the pressure in that foot. Let your hip come back down. Just reset. Let that knee come towards the floor and just see what feels good. Maybe work a little bit into it and then release it a little bit, and then work more into pushing that foot, lifting that hip, and releasing. So, oh, that's good. As long as your body's happy with it, that's all you need to do. Let's take one more deep breath. Let's exhale and release that out. All right, let's roll to the stomach. I'm going to work through the front of the body. So I'll be in a cobra position. Feet are wide. You want to keep the feet on the floor. Keep the tailbone tucked under. We're going to get really tall. Press into the forearms. Lift your shoulders away from the floor. If that's enough, you're fine. Stay there. Otherwise, you can take your hands a little bit wider than your shoulders. Take them away a little bit from the body if you need to, and press up. So cobra stretch. Your eyes can be where they're comfortable for your neck. Your head can be level. Your head doesn't have to lift up and back. Sometimes it just hurts the neck. So where it's comfortable, take a deep breath. Exhale, release all the way down. Stack your hands, rest your forehead down, and just wiggle your hips a little bit side to side. Kind of relax any tension you just put into the low back area. Take one more deep breath. Exhale, let it go. And then let's roll over to one side and come to seated position here. All right, find your ball, your trigger ball, and let's place it under one side, under one buttocks. I know we had already done the foam rolling thing and the trigger ball thing there, but we're going to go into a different stretch. Well, we've done this before, hurdler stretch. So we're going to take the knees the same direction. Just want you to kind of feel yourself get onto that ball a little bit, move around, kind of let it loosen a little bit more. Maybe it already was, but we're just adding on to that now. See if we can get into it there. As I reset here. All right, so nice little rolling on that ball. Now, you can keep the ball there if it works for you. We're going to come forward and just bring the chest down towards that front knee. So you're going to find that, yay, I love this stretch, or I just don't feel anything in it. So if you don't feel anything, come on up. Take that leg back behind you. See if you can straighten it out. We're going to keep this leg on the side. Keep that foot flexed. See if you can get onto the hip. Now, for some people, that's just like, that's still not enough, or that's not good for me. So that's a regular pigeon stretch in yoga. If that's not working for you, bring that other leg around, cross it in front, and just stretch forward. That should get into those hips for you. You can always move a little bit left or a little bit right. Kind of get into those hip areas there. So I'm going to go back to this hurdler stretch. I'm going to stay here for about 4 more deep breaths. Again, you choose whichever position works better for you, and just breathe in deep to your side ribs. Exhale, let it go. On your next exhale, we'll press into the hands to come upright. If you're in that pigeon pose with your leg behind you, tuck under your toes so you can shift forward and unwind your legs a little bit. So this is the leg that was the primary leg we were stretching. So go ahead and take the other leg, crossing in front. We're going to twist. So take this hand to the opposite leg, nice and tall, the other hand behind you, and then rotate your spine, working from the ribs and the shoulders and the head, turning to the back. Full exhale. When you inhale, come back to the front a little bit. Exhale, twist again. Inhale, back to the center. Exhale, 2 more times. Keep the spine tall anytime you twist. Whether you're stretching or you're exercising, keep that spine tall when you twist. That helps protect those vertebrae and everything in between each one. And release back to the center. All right, so a little movement side to side, kind of let everything kind of reset itself. You can even go into that little cat back around your spine if that feels pretty good there. And we're going to switch to the other side. So if that ball worked really well on that side, try it on this side. If it didn't work at all on that side, still try it on this side. See if this side feels any better. Kind of roll around a little bit on there again. And then when you feel like, oh, that's good. Okay, I've had enough. Or I found the spot, I'm going to keep the ball there. And then you can come over, lean over that leg. And again, if that's not going to work, you can extend that leg behind you. Maybe you're kind of on this side. That's okay. As long as you feel some stretch into this hip, you might feel a lot of stretch down through here. And that's fine. Go where you feel a good stretch that you want to feel right now. And if this isn't working for you, get a little bit more into that pigeon pose. Or bring that leg around, cross it in front, and then come forward. So you can round your spine forward. Let me turn this way. You can round, or you just come forward with your belly forward first. Again, you feel the stretch. That's what you want to do. You want to feel the stretch. Get into what you think is best, but you have to feel it first. Move around and then just kind of melt down wherever you are, wherever it feels really good. One more deep breath in and out. And relax. Press your hands to come back upright. Again, if you're in that pigeon pose, tuck under your toes, shift your weight forward so you can unwind that leg. Bring it around in front of everybody, across it in front of the other. Now we're going to twist the other way. Spine is tall, the hands behind you to help hold your spine tall. Breathe in. Exhale, twist the ribs, the shoulders, the head turns. As you inhale, release that stretch a little bit. As you exhale, get into your twist. 2 more just like that. Nice full exhale on that last twist. Slowly release back to the center and release your shoulders up and back. Round your spine a little bit, let everything kind of even out. Now, if you are very flexible in the hip flexors and you can sit in a hero pose with your heels apart, hips coming to the floor, and you can recline back and feel the stretch that you like without putting pressure on your knees, stay there and do that stretch. Otherwise, I'm going to have you come onto your side. You can use a strap around the ankle. Bring that ankle back. Keep the tailbone tucked under. That's how you're going to feel this into those hip flexors. You can also come onto your back. You can even bring that strap over the shoulder, tuck under your tailbone. I'm not looking for your quad stretch. I'm not looking for this part of the body to stretch. I'm looking for this part up here right in front of the hip to stretch. So to do that, you have to tuck under your tailbone to feel that stretch. So you might feel it more on your side. You might feel it more on your stomach. If you're on your side, keep your knee in line with your hip. If the knee's coming all the way up, nope, that's not going to work. Get your knee down, tuck under your tailbone. Keep your hips pretty much one on top of the other. If you're reclined back, awesome, just stay there. Take another breath. Exhale, let go. So if you're reclined, you can come back up the way you got into it or roll to your side to come out of that. And if you're doing one leg at a time, go ahead and switch the other side. So you can roll to your belly or onto your side, whatever you need to get that switched to the other side. And you can use your hand. You don't have to use that strap, but sometimes it's just easier with the strap because then you can open up that leg. And remember, we want the tailbone to tuck under. Even when you're in reclined hero pose, you want to watch because sometimes the low back is going to arch a lot. And that just means that your hip flexors are tight, which is not anything that's bad or good. It's just to notice, okay, they are pretty tight. So we have to work on that stretch, keeping that tailbone tucked under, doing different kinds of stretches like this just to help things open up in the front. We'll take 2 more deep breaths wherever you are with this side. Remember, if you don't like it on the side, come to your belly. Keep the tailbone tucked under. That's probably more than 2 breaths, but that's okay. If you're ready to come out, go ahead and release out of that. All right. And let's come back up to seated. So one last stretch, inner thighs. You can do this on your back, and I'll show you that in a moment. So butterfly stretch, feet together. Press the feet together so they're not open. Press them together. You can gently press your knees down. You can reach your arms forward. You can go to a straddle And roll forward with that if that feels better. You can lay on your back for the reclined butterfly, feet together, knees out to the sides, hands around the feet, and just kind of rock a little bit. If you like, you don't even have to rock, but you can do that too. And take about 3 more deep breaths in and out. See if you have extra tension somewhere in the body, like across your face, or in one shoulder or the other, that you can relax. One more deep breath. Exhale, let go. All right, everyone come onto your back, knees into your chest, little rock side to side. We're going to go happy baby pose. So 2 fingers around your big toes, knees out to the sides. Use the back of your arm to press into the crook of the knee area, or hands onto the inside of the feet. And again, you can rock side to side if you like. So we're trying to keep the knee at a 90-degree angle here, with the foot flat up towards the sky. Some of us are kind of like this. If that's where you are, fine. I just need you to try to eventually get here, so you need to work on that. You can also take your legs out into straddle. And just a nice little deep breath in and out. And then hug your knees in. Place the feet on the floor. A little bit of resting for Shavasana. Feet wide, knees together. Or feet together, knees out for reclined butterfly. Or legs go straight. Arms out to your sides, or rest on the belly. And we'll just take about a minute worth of slow, deep breaths in and out. That's going to be about 6 deep breaths. With every exhale, release a little more tension out of the body, pressing it out, down through the legs, down through the feet, and out of the body. Starting from the top of the head, breathing in. Exhale, wash out the tension out of the face, the neck, the shoulders, out through the feet. Breathing in. Exhale, release the shoulders, arms, torso, all that tension out through the legs, out through the feet. Deep breath in. Exhale, press the tension, the gripping in the hips, the buttocks, the thighs, the legs, out through the feet. Deep breath in. Starting from the top of the head, one more time, wash out any remaining tension or stress in the body, out through the legs, out through the feet. And one more, just like that. Breathe in. Exhale, starting from the top of the head, wash out any remaining tension, out through the legs and the feet. You are welcome to stay here as long as you wish. If you're ready to move out of Shavasana, slowly move fingers and toes, move your feet, move your hands, your arms, your legs. Bring the knees into the chest, hug them in, hold the shins, little rock side to side. Bring your legs to the center, lift your head and rock between the shoulder blades and the tailbone. And then rest your head down on the floor. Turn over to one side, press yourself up to a comfortable seated position with your eyes closed or open. Sit nice and tall, relax down the shoulders. Take an inhale through your nose. Exhale through open mouth like a sigh. Taking our hands to the sides, inhale, open the eyes, lift the arms overhead, palms together to the heart, breathe out. And again, hands to the sides, lifting, gathering energy, vitality, and joy, and bringing all these good things to our hearts. That's our class. Namaste. Hoping you're feeling a little more stretched out. Thanks for joining me. I will see you soon. Bye.